Alright, what's up, y'all? It is your neighbor Alex over here in District 9. It's around 2 o'clock in the morning, and I am taking a walk in the median at Mockingbird and Abrams. So this is where I'm headed right now. And so I wanted to take a moment and kind of explain myself further, because there's been a lot of stuff that's kind of happened on the social medias over the past week. And I just want to let y'all know that I am fully committing to the bit. And you're probably like, Alex, what do you mean? What do you mean fully committing to the bit? Well, for the past 2 years, ever since I got out of treatment, I've been super lost. And I've been trying to figure out what makes sense here in Dallas. Because for those of you who don't know, I am a corporate transplant. So I came to Dallas back in 2019, in January of 2019. And I worked in corporate America for 6-7 years. And had an incredible experience. That's how I learned how to be this due diligent researcher, this person who knows so much about people, processes, technology, the ability for me to quickly discern like what's going on, especially as Dallas is facing a lot of really fascinating intersectionality between the government sector, the private sector, the nonprofit sector, and these partnerships that just keep on appearing that actually don't benefit the residents of Dallas at all. And so this is one of the things that I'm introducing y'all to. So at night, we're gonna have some like night lessons, essentially, where I think what I'm going to do is each week I'm going to take on a topic of interest that you believe needs a little bit more like quietness to fully understand, an ability to get close, an ability to see stuff. Like, no matter what it is, I'm fine doing it as long as it's not like trespassing, right? But I know that like Flock is a huge thing right now. I know Waymo is a huge thing right now. I know that just like the way that things are occurring and people are suffering, understanding why that's happening is really important. It's really difficult to see that during the day because so much stuff is happening in Dallas. And so at night, Dallas is so peaceful, y'all. Like, this is an incredibly peaceful part of Dallas that I just like love so much, y'all. And I will say, Dallas is very scary at night. And not because of what you may automatically assume, but it's dark here, y'all. It's dark here. And I say that as like about a month ago, my power got turned off at my house, and I had to spend a night with no power. And I just think about reading all of the history that I've learned of this city and of the people throughout, South Dallas, North Dallas, when and where things happen throughout the city, and understanding that there's still people in Dallas that don't have electricity. There's still people in Dallas that don't have air conditioning. There's still people in Dallas that are most likely still existing back in the 70s, back in the 80s, in terms of their quality of life. And I'm looking forward to diving into that side of thing and being that data scientist that's on the ground. And I'm not being paid by anyone. I'm not being any of that stuff. And as soon as I do start receiving income, you're going to know. And at the same time, I'm not going to take money from people that don't want me to be truthful, or that don't want me to be accountable responsible and take ownership over stuff, because that's a huge thing that's just lacking right now in this city, is accountability, ownership, and responsibility. And it's really, really frustrating. And so I feel like there's a gap that is needed, and I can confidently say that, like, yes, am I going to be reporting as like other people? No. However, this is having a one-on-one conversation with me, essentially. And so how this is going to work is each week I'm going to focus on a topic, essentially. It can be something big, it can be something small, it can be something niche, it can be something that's affecting everything. However, I want y'all to think about things as you're going around Dallas that, like, you want to know about, and you feel like I might have an edge on it, or maybe I understand it, or maybe there's something that, like, you just want to look at. I'm happy to go to that place at night and when it's safe like this, and go and do that, and, you know, look at, you know, the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Center, go and look at Fair Park, go and look at these places at a different time and talk about infrastructure, talk about, you know, development, talk about policies, procedures, all of the things that have happened over the past year, when it's quiet, when you have time. And honestly, these are probably, I don't feel like putting stuff on Spotify or LinkedIn or whatever, but the goal of this is to be able to listen where you have just 10 minutes on your social media on different things, whether it's LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, where you don't technically need to be looking at me and you can be working. And so I'm trying to figure out what, like, a respectful flow of information looks like, because y'all are working during the day. And so I'm trying to figure out what that looks like. What I do know, though, what I'm very excited for, is this. Moving forward, as you may tell or not seen yet, I've created templates. And a template that I've created has been for public comment, and making sure that something that I'm going to focus on is making sure that my people and my neighbors, their voices are heard. Because it takes a lot to get up there and speak, and it's very disheartening to see your elected leaders not look at you and not pay attention to you and text, and kind of is like really embarrassing, honestly, to know that we have elected leaders that are in essentially like board positions, like, and imagine going to a board meeting. Imagine going to like the executive board meeting of like some massive nonprofit, and it's like they've just come so complacent. And I'm gonna kind of come to the end of my rant, but I was talking to some of the elders within advocacy, and I just asked, I was like, y'all, has it ever been, like, I feel like this is very strange with like the way people are acting, and like how, again, the standard deviation of normal human behavior is so skewed, y'all. Like, and the reason why I say that is because you got to think about statistics, right? This is human science. This is political human science. This is my niche, right? And in human sciences, in politics, you have studies, you have, you know, predictions, you have all of these things. Well, there's typically a bell curve, right? There's typically a standard deviation. There's typically a framework in which you can start plotting how decisions are made, who wins, who loses, what policies get passed. Well, the standard deviation of normal human behavior in Dallas, specifically for our government, is so far off that when whoa, damn, that's wild. Anyways, but what I was saying is this, is that the standard deviation for normal human behavior, the bell curve for when someone comes to me, a new activist or a new group starts up, they say, you know, what do I need to do? How many letters do I need to send? How many people do I need to get down to City Hall? I can't tell you that anymore because we are so far outside of the standard deviation of normal human behavior that one of the largest coalitions that has ever been built and stood up and run in Dallas, that is recognized at the city, state, the nation, and the world for what we're doing, is not being respected and not being honored and not being taken seriously. Yeah, I'm going to say that again. So, one of the largest coalitions that has ever been built in Dallas that really connects the city together. You know, this is very similar to Shingle Mountain. This is very similar to the Trinity Toll Expressway. This is very similar to when zoning started happening. We're all connected, you guys. This is all connected. And so for people to think that moving City Hall isn't going to affect them personally, you got to remember that even these developers that want to help, their goal is to make money. Their goal is to develop. And the only way that they can do that, and again, in another crazy fashion, is turning our seat of government into a permanent into a permanent renter, right? And I just think it's really fascinating, the fact that they're weaponizing, not even ignorance, they're weaponizing like a very dangerous plot right now. And there's a lot of things that like they're taking for granted and like not worried about that they like actually really should be. And if there's things that you want me to like tell you, I'm happy to. I just don't want to make, because now not only is this a repository for me, this is also an outlet for you to learn, right? There's someone that asked about how do you sign up for city council. Awesome. I'm going to do a video on how to sign up for city council this week, so that way you understand how to get in these meetings. And so whatever else there is, tell me, because I want to know, because I want to build this not only to, you know, help, you know, strengthen my civic spirit, but to build resilience within all of us, again, because there's going to be a moment in time, whether you think about it or not, that you're going to end up at City Hall. Just period. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. Like, we all engage with the government no matter what. And it's very evident that Dallas is being intentionally kept quiet, intentionally kept, you know, asleep, because we are this like smorgasbord of just like culture and fun and family and community that is really the keyhole to a lot of this either maintaining or dismantling government and our, you know, democracy. Like, we can't pretend that all of a sudden everyone's just going to act normal again. I can't live in that fantasy world, because people are getting abducted, because people are losing their lives, because houses are being blown up, because Big Bend is being bulldozed, because people are being arrested for creating, you know, educational material. You know, there's a really fascinating quote as I've been like learning about Reconstruction and learning about the civil rights movement, learning about Jim Crow, learning about Dallas history, learning about redlining, learning about segregation by design, learning about all of these things, is the fact that Hitler and the Nazis, they took their practices from the South. They took their practices from the Ku Klux Klan. They took their practices and exercised them to a way that would honor the U.S. slave trade, the U.S. Jim Crow, the U.S. segregation, the U.S. racism. Because, you guys, like, we set the standard. Like, we can't say that we didn't have any type of play in this, because literally the Hitler and the Ku Klux Klan, they would have been besties, you guys, and they probably freaking were besties. So with that, I've kind of gone on my rant. That's about 15 minutes, but this is, as I'm forming this, as I'm building this out, they're going to get more cohesive, but the goal is to get better at practicing talking on film, and because I don't want to edit these. Like, editing is very exhausting. It's very, very exhausting. And so if I can be better at maintaining 1 or 2 clips where I'm talking in cohesive facts and cohesive manners, and I'm able to distill information within that like 5 to 10 minute range, I think that that is really great content to build out a full like 30-minute YouTube. And I don't say that to like get famous and like all of this stuff. I say that because social media is very difficult, and you have to figure out what works when, right? And so short form video doesn't really work well on YouTube. Like, it kind of does, like it's not like the biggest thing, but like YouTube is for like long form. And so if I can create a storyline that's like about a topic, and then it's, hey, we're gonna talk about this, and I can put it all together, and like that's the editing that I do, I think that like that makes sense. And so again, whatever topic, whatever you think you want to learn about, I have the time, I have the capacity, and if anything, you're just making me a better resident and better citizen here in Dallas. And at the same time, there's potential for me to take the information that you're giving me, put it into a speech or something, or even just enlighten the other activists. So with that, I think I'm gonna go get a what's it called? I think I'm gonna go get a milkshake from Jack in the Box, because the frickin' what's it called? Isn't open. So shut up and put your money where your mouth is. That's what you get up in Vegas. So